What up, African family? Welcome back to the African Wahala. Here on the African Wahala, we discuss social, political, religious, economic situations affecting African people all over the world, Africans in the diaspora, especially Africans on the continent. In this episode, we're going to be delving into the psychological makeup of a lot of Africans on the continent, in this case, in Nigeria. So we have this individual, Dr. Bosun Tijani. Now, Tijani is vying for a position to become a minister in the new administration of Tinubu in Nigeria. Tijani was somehow selected. I mean, in my opinion, the guy has some decent portfolio. He's a tech entrepreneur. He's into information technology. He's brought in some global high players into Africa. He has created a company and has spread into multiple African countries, including Kenya, Rwanda, some other West African countries, Nigeria, and I believe he has some establishment in Europe as well. He has a dual citizenship, but I'll tell you what, I don't need to go into all these extra peripherals. In the Nigerian system, it's supposed to be a constitutional democracy, which means that the executive arm of government selects the ministers that will be working, the cabinet ministers that will be working with the presidency during his term in the office. So the president of Nigeria, the new president Tinubu, by the way, he's illegitimate. Okay, he's still in court trying to find his legitimacy. And we all know that Tinubu rigged the elections to get in. So Tinubu's illegitimate government has selected this highly talented individual to get into office and maybe become the Minister of Information Technology. I don't know. So the executive arm of government selects individuals that would become cabinet ministers. It is the job of the legislative arm of government to screen such individuals for any controversial behaviors in the past or for any reason that they cannot qualify to be a minister. And that's exactly what is happening in this case. But you also need to realize that even though Nigeria technically practices a constitutional democracy, it's fake. It's a fake system of constitutional democracy, and it's a fake federal republic. As opposed to this guy, Bosun Tijani, that apologized for whatever he said in the past. People like me, we don't apologize because we know it's the truth. Now, this is where the controversy begins with Tijani. Tijani's tweets, he put out some tweets way back in 2019, 2020, and then he's being grilled in the Senate. First and foremost, he had to present his portfolio, what he has done, and why he's trying to get a job as a minister. But while making all those presentations, the ministers, the senators, the workers, the National Assembly members, they came up with these old tweets from Tijani, and they needed him to defend himself. If you look at what I have on the screen, first and foremost, the guy said here, Nigeria is a, quote unquote, Nigeria is a bloody expensive tag to have against your full name. As a matter of fact, let me just let you listen to it play out yourself.
On the 29th of July 2019, you tweeted against the passport and citizens of Nigeria. Do you still believe in that your tweet today? Let me quote it exactly from the way you put it. Nigeria is a bloody expensive tag to have against your name. Leave patriotism for a minute. That tag is bloody waste of time and energy, but a country. End of quote. Because when he was reading his resume, he was giving patriotism of how he served, blah, 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 blah. If he has changed now, I just wanted to know, and I want Nigerians to know.
Well, Tijani was also made.
And then Tijani definitely had his response to whatever question that senator was asking him. And just so you know, 99% of the senators in Nigeria, you see all these guys sitting in the House of Representatives, Senate building, National Assembly, 99% of these people are thieves. A lot of these guys get into these positions with good intentions, but along the line, they are forced to become thieves because that's how the system works. If you refuse to be a thief, you will be kicked out. And if you have been a thief in the past and for any reason you decide to become a whistleblower, you're going to get messed up because what's going to happen is all the other guys here that are thieves, they will gang up against you and make sure that you get prosecuted. And that's why it's almost impossible to find Nigerian politicians that ever get prosecuted. But the ones that get prosecuted are the ones that have become enemies with the other thieves. So let's go back to Tijani Bosun and his response to those allegations.
Please go ahead and answer the question whether you are still a Nigerian and whether the tweet came from you. Then from there we proceed. First, I want to put on record that
before I keep going, this guy is speaking. This is the Senate President of Nigeria, Akpabio. Akpabio is a thief. And this is how ridiculous Nigeria is. How come a guy like Akpabio became the, Senate President of Nigeria? Look at this headline. Multi-billion naira fraud. Akpabio pressures senators elect to endorse him as sole candidate for Senate President in a desperate move to evade EFCC invitation and grilling. Because Akpabio was once a governor in Cross River. The guy stole billions, just regular stuff. That's all what they do. All these Nigerian politicians, their job is to steal money and impoverish the people. That's it. They steal money. They work as puppets for global imperialists from the western part of the world. The only people that are beneficiaries are the global imperialists and them, the politicians, while we, the people, remain poverty-stricken. So this guy, Godswill Akpabio, he had cases. He was supposed to go to jail, but he evaded that situation because of how fraudulent the Nigerian system is. And he somehow ended up being the Senate President, grilling an individual for trying to get a position as a minister.
We are very appreciative. We are very appreciative of Mr. President for discovering talents like you and bringing you to the fore, and particularly for giving the opportunity to very young people. If it's something that you did because you were very young.
Very young people. That guy is 46 years old, just so you know. But he is classified as very young people. This is a case of old versus young. The old people that have been in power, they are hell-bent on destroying the entire country. Not just the country of Nigeria, the entire continent of Africa. If you think about it, the median age, the mean age, the average age, sorry, not the median. The average age in Africa is 19 years old. And we have a population of 1.4 billion people. Criminals like Akpabio, this criminal, the Senate President of Nigeria. This guy right here. Criminals like this, they are easily in their 60s, their 70s. They have been in politics for decades, 30, 40 years. They've amassed billions. They've wrecked lives. And now they find a way to categorize you as a young person. Oh, the president is giving opportunities to young people. How about young people are the majority of the population? And young people are extremely intelligent these days. They have the ability to do better than what these old rogues ever did when they were in power.
And now you are getting a bit older. You let us know. And if you are still a Nigerian, let us know. But we believe you have impeccable credentials. And that we are very impressed that young people are being given opportunity to join this government. So don't get us wrong. We just want to know whether you are from Sierra Leone or some other place, since Nigeria is not good. Please go on.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Senate President. Thank you also for bringing up this issue, distinguished Senator Buhari. I'm going to ask that you please listen to everything I say as if I'm your son, because I will speak from my heart, and everything I'll say today can be proven.
And this is where Tijani, he lost it for me. What this tells me, him saying, I need you guys to listen to me as if I am your son. He lost it there for me. I like Tijani, I'll be honest with you. He seems like an intelligent young person that is capable of, making money, being an entrepreneur, and improving the education of Africans in the IT sector. I respect that about him. I also respect the fact that he has made something good for himself with whatever opportunities he has been given in life. But him telling these people, pandering to them, you need to listen to me like I'm your son. That already tells me that he's willing to conform and played games that these guys that are in the government, including the ministers, the senators, governors, and all these politicians, he is willing to play the games of politicians. And for that reason, I have no trust in him. I'm not going to bash him. I'm not going to completely cook him the way I don't perceive him the same way that I perceive a guy like Fabio, for example. But I'm not going to pretend like I don't know the game that he's playing. The moment you come out and tell a bunch of old criminals to treat you like their son, you know what that is called? It's called nepotism. That is the definition of nepotism. You expect them to treat you with preference because they have to perceive you as their son. But let me let this guy finish what he was saying, then I'll come back to this.
I've spent the last 15 years of my life going all across the world, looking for people to support young people who believe they can use technology to help lift this country forward. I've done this in so many ways, very loud and subtle. One of the most subtle things I've done is that since founding my company, we've opened now in 4 countries. And every time you get to the lobby of our office in this country, you will see an artwork there. And embedded in that artwork is the flag of Nigeria. Embedded in that artwork. If you go to the Kigali in Rwanda today, you will find that. If you go to Nairobi, you will find it. If you go to Namibia, you will find it. Everywhere we go. In 2019, as a sequel to something I did with Google, the business I do, which is to support young people to build businesses, require that they raise money. And the ability to raise money relies on the ability to attract investors from abroad. And I did everything possible to build a company that is fully domiciled in Nigeria. In the technology space, people hardly domicile their businesses in Nigeria. I domiciled that business in Nigeria. In 2019, we decided to improve Nigeria's opportunity to be able to raise more money that we...
Pause. Just look at these faces. I remember this guy. This guy is famously known as the dildo senator. This guy was caught on CCTV assaulting a woman in a sex shop. Yeah, that's why we call him the dildo senator. He came out and apologized after assaulting that woman, completely violating her rights. He had police officers, because you know the way it works in Nigeria, an under-policed country. They use police officers, the few remaining police officers are used to guide each and every one of these criminals in the National Assembly and other politicians, while the people in Nigeria are left vulnerable. So this dildo senator, this woman beater, this criminal, this clown right here, he is one of the people screening someone about to become a minister. That's how much of a joke Nigeria is. This guy, this is David Umahi, former governor of Ebonyi State, a criminal. This guy supervised the killings of a lot of his indigents between 2015 and 2023. You see, Nigeria is so ridiculous that politicians, they simply move from one spot to another. A former governor now becomes a senator. Why can't he just retire? Bro, you were a governor, you've stolen so much money. In a normal country, you should have been prosecuted and thrown in prison. But in Nigeria, you get rewarded with the position of a senator. So that's how ridiculous this is.
I domiciled that business in Nigeria. In 2019, we decided to improve Nigeria's opportunity to be able to raise more money, that we need to be doing a tour of the whole world. But we didn't want to do it just as Nigeria, but as Africa. So I opened up 15 slots. This whole trip was paid for by Google. Nothing came to my pocket. We gave about 8 slots to Nigerians. Because I have a second citizen, which is a British passport, I was in the UK, and I was trying to apply for my Chinese visa because I did not need visa to every other country. I got to the embassy, and I was told that it would take me 2 days to get my Chinese visa. I was excited. And the gentleman said, "What do you do? Where's your pay slip?" I said, "I run my business." He says, "We have to see your bank account statement." I said, "I'm happy to provide it, but my business is fully domiciled in Nigeria." The moment I mentioned Nigeria, the gentleman said they have to do a special check on me, and it was going to take minimum 2 weeks. In anger, I tweeted what you read, which was paraphrased wrongly. One, I've also been given a taste of what young people have been doing to all.
Okay, shut up, Bosun. Now, listen, guys. If you understand what this guy is saying, he was upset at the fact that once he mentioned in his Nigerian citizenship, then he had to go through more red tapes, more bureaucratic obstructions, okay, just to get into China. That's the reason why he put out this tweet. It's understandable. At this point, we don't need to pretend like Nigeria's image is not in the gutters. It's already destroyed. If you are traveling with a Nigerian passport, you stand a greater chance of being harassed, okay, asked all types of ridiculous questions in every part of the world, including other African countries. So it's not a surprise. And it's very understandable when people get frustrated about a Nigerian passport and they put out these types of tweets or information. A lot of people are like, I think this is the best time for us to start being mindful of the tweets that we post, which is very important. Yes, you need to be careful of the type of information that you put out. But at the same time, this guy did not lie. The only reason why, in my opinion, he has shown that all he cares about is just to get into that position of power like the rest of these politicians. And once he gets into that position, then he can do whatever selfish thing he plans to do. To me, he has proven to be selfish. I'm talking about Bosun Tijani. Because if you are truly an upstanding person, you're not trying to play games, you're not trying to conform to the behavior of the senators, okay, in the National Assembly. You're not trying to conform to the behavior of the politicians, the previous administrations, whose only duties was to steal, kill, and destroy. If that's not what you're trying to do, you should have stood on your square. You should have been able to explain to these people thoroughly, and you don't have to apologize. And if you are genuine about wanting to make a change in the IT sector as a minister, in my opinion, you didn't need to apologize. Because the moment you decided to conform to the people in the politics space, that moment you've shown us that you're not going to be different from them. Because trust me, a lot of those politicians that you saw sitting there that have been in politics for 30, 40 years, they got into politics when they were in their 30s. They also had good intentions, but the Nigerian system forces you to be corrupt and to change. So the only way that you can showcase your integrity is if you resign before you conform to the corrupt ways. And that's what I have to say about this. So Bosun Tijani, that's a fail, in my opinion. He's just going to be like the rest of them. Most importantly, nothing good can come out of evil. If Tinubu was the one that supplied you, that picked you up and selected you to be a minister under him, trust me, you have to be a questionable character. Thanks for watching the African Wahala. Peace.